Yesterday, Celtic experienced one of those days that fans wish they could forget as quickly as possible. A loss to St. Johnstone, a team sitting at the bottom of the Scottish Premiership table, left many fans, analysts, and even players themselves in shock. It's not often that you see Celtic, a club that has been dominant in Scotland, losing to a team that has struggled all season long. To make things worse, this result came just when Celtic had the opportunity to clinch their league title, potentially at home in front of their own fans. Now, with this defeat, they'll have to wait longer to confirm the title and even rely on other results to make sure that their victory is mathematically secured. The game itself was incredibly frustrating. Celtic didn't play anywhere near the level expected of them. St. Johnstone, despite being bottom of the table, looked more organized and determined. Celtic, on the other hand, seemed lethargic, lacking the sharpness that we've seen from them throughout much of the season. Brendan Rodgers himself was far from happy after the match, and his anger was evident in his post-match comments. He expressed disappointment not only in the loss but in the attitude of some of his players. The team has been accused of coasting, especially since securing the league title looked all but done. It's as if they've taken their foot off the gas pedal and assumed that the results would come easily. Brendan Rodgers didn't mince words about this. He admitted that the start of the game was poor and that it's not the first time this has happened. The players, according to Rodgers, might have become too comfortable. When you're at the top of the league and your closest rivals are far behind, it's easy to think that every game will be a walk in the park. But Rodgers made it clear that this is not the mentality of top teams or top players. He pointed out that when you become too comfortable, you begin to lose the fight, the hunger, and the will to win the important duels on the field. And that's exactly what happened yesterday. Celtic's play was slow, predictable, and at times it felt as though the players didn't even want to go forward with the ball. That's something that can't happen when you're representing a club like Celtic. The frustration didn't end on the pitch. The online reaction was harsh, but also warranted in many respects. Celtic fans expect a certain level of performance, and when they see their team underperforming, it's understandable that they will vent their frustrations. But there's a fine line between criticism and overreaction, and some people seem to have crossed it. It's important to keep things in perspective. But this team has done a lot of good this season, and while the loss to St. Johnstone was disappointing, it doesn't define their entire season. Celtic are still in the running for a treble, and they have the opportunity to make up for this setback. But at the same time, it's crucial that they don't become complacent. The league title is still within reach, and they have a chance to redeem themselves in the Scottish Cup. However, as Rodgers said, this is a time for reflection and for making necessary changes moving forward. Rodgers himself was not shy about addressing the team's shortcomings. He acknowledged that some players may have downed tools ever since Celtic were knocked out of the Champions League. With the pressure of European football gone, some players might have thought they could ease up a bit, but that's not the mentality that has made Celtic so successful over the years. Rodgers said that this complacency, this attitude of thinking that the job is done, is something that needs to be addressed. He pointed out that when players think they can coast through games, they risk losing the intensity that has been a hallmark of Celtic's success. And that's a problem. The manager made it clear that he expects more from his squad. They can't afford to play like this for the rest of the season, especially with so much on the line. Celtic's commanding position at the top of the table, 13 points ahead of second-place Rangers, is still a significant advantage. But this defeat to St. Johnstone means that Celtic can secure the league title at Celtic Park next weekend, as they had hoped. It's a missed opportunity, especially after Rangers dropped points in their own game. Celtic fans had hoped for a chance to celebrate their league title at home, but now they must wait a little longer. While this isn't the end of the world, it does highlight just how frustrating this result was. For a team that has been so dominant all season, losing to the bottom team in the league feels like a major setback. This loss is also frustrating because of the context in which it happened. It was an opportunity for Celtic to show their dominance and take another step toward the treble. The Scottish Cup semi-final against St. Johnstone is still on the horizon, but after this defeat, some are questioning whether Celtic can maintain their level of performance in the coming weeks. The league may still be in their hands, but the loss has raised more questions than answers about how Celtic will perform between now and the end of the season. Rodgers has taken responsibility for the situation, but he's also made it clear that the players need to take accountability for their own performances. The manager can only do so much from the sideline. It's up to the players to bring their best every time they step onto the pitch. And right now, it seems like some of them have let their standards slip. Rodgers' comments after the match were firm but fair. He acknowledged the quality of the players, but also highlighted that some have been far from their best in recent weeks. He's right to demand more. Celtic should be at their best, especially with so much to play for. In the aftermath of this loss, there's been a lot of criticism directed at the team, but also at Rodgers. Some fans are questioning his future at the club, even though he's on track to win a treble. It's an odd situation to say the least. Celtic fans have been through a lot of highs and lows under Rodgers, and while some people are quick to call for change after one disappointing result, it's important to remember that this season is far from over. The reaction to the St. Johnstone game may have been overblown by some, but it's understandable given the high expectations at Celtic. Fans want their team to succeed, and they expect nothing less than the best from their players. But in the grand scheme of things, Celtic are still in a great position. They have a lot of talent in their squad, and while their recent performances have been underwhelming, there's no reason to panic just yet. Rodgers has faced pressure before, and he's come through it. The key now is for him and the players to respond to this setback and make sure that they finish the season strong. There's still everything to play for, and a treble is still very much a possibility. But it's up to everyone at the club to raise their game, to be focused, and to make sure that they don't let this slip up derail what has been a successful season up until this point. The disappointment of yesterday's game may sting, but it's also an opportunity for growth and improvement. There's no room for complacency, and the players need to show that they have the mentality to go the distance. They can't afford to think the job is done just because they are so far ahead in the league. Celtic's focus should now be on finishing the season strong, securing the league title, and taking home the treble. There's a lot to play for, and the season isn't over yet. If Celtic can get back to their best, there's no reason why this can't still be a great campaign. The pressure is on, and the team needs to deliver. They have the quality, they have the experience, and now it's time for them to show it. The fans expect nothing less. After the loss to St. Johnstone, the online reaction from Celtic fans has been mixed but mostly negative. It's been a difficult time to be a Celtic supporter on social media, especially with the way some fans have reacted to the defeat. In the wake of a loss like that, criticism is understandable. After all, this is a team that has been dominant in Scotland for years, and losing to a team at the bottom of the league is hard to accept. However, as the dust settles, it's important to recognize that not all the reaction has been entirely fair, and in some cases it's been far too extreme. There's no doubt that the players' performance yesterday left a lot to be desired, and they need to take responsibility for that. But sometimes the reaction online can go too far, and it's crucial to keep things in perspective. Yes, Celtic have underperformed in recent weeks, but we need to remember the bigger picture here. This is a team that has had a successful season overall, and a loss in a game like this doesn't suddenly erase all the good work that has been done up until now. Some of the online reaction has been exaggerated, and it's important to acknowledge that this is still a very strong team, one that has the potential to win a treble this season. We've seen plenty of moments of brilliance from Celtic, and this loss doesn't change that. The issue with some of the reactions is that they are forgetting how far Celtic have come in recent years. The expectation at Celtic has always been high, and for good reason. The club has a rich history and is one of the most successful in Scotland. However, there are times when the expectations placed on the team can become unrealistic. Some fans seem to think that Celtic should win every game, and while that's a noble aspiration, it's simply not realistic. Losing a game, especially in a season as competitive as this one, is bound to happen from time to time. And it's important to remember that every team has their bad days. Celtic's loss to St. Johnstone was a tough pill to swallow, but it doesn't define the entire season. In fact, just a few months ago, Celtic were flying high after their impressive performances in the Champions League. There was genuine optimism about the team's potential, and the fans were rightfully excited about what the future held. But now, after a few disappointing results, some are quick to turn on the manager and the players. It's a stark reminder of how quickly expectations can change. Brendan Rodgers, for example, has been a fantastic manager for Celtic. He has led the team to numerous successes, including a domestic treble in his first season. His leadership has been a key factor in the team's success, and despite the recent downturn in form, it's important not to lose sight of what he's done for the club. The same goes for the players. Yes, they've been underperforming recently, But this is still a talented group of footballers, and one loss shouldn't overshadow their achievements. There's also an important point to be made about the nature of fan expectations. Sometimes the fan base can develop a sense of entitlement, and this can be damaging. It's a fine line to walk. As fans, we want our team to win, and we expect them to be at the top of their game every time they step on the pitch. But at the same time, we need to be realistic. Winning every game isn't feasible, no matter how good the team is. The reaction to Celtic's defeat to St. Johnstone has shown just how easily expectations can spiral out of control. When things don't go as planned, it's easy to forget all the positive aspects of the season and focus only on the negatives. That said, I don't want to come across as someone who is making excuses for the team. The defeat was frustrating, and it's clear that Celtic need to improve if they are to secure the treble. There are still areas that need work, and it's crucial that the players and the manager address these issues. The loss to St. Johnstone highlighted several weaknesses, including a lack of intensity and concentration in the first half. These are things that can be fixed, but only if everyone at the club is willing to acknowledge them and work to improve. Rodgers has already spoken about the need for a change in mentality, and this is something that the players must take seriously. They can't afford to become complacent, especially with so much still at stake. In his post-match interview, Rodgers made it clear that the team cannot afford to rest on their laurels. He was frustrated by the way some players approached the game, thinking that it would be an easy win because they were playing against a team at the bottom of the league. This is a mentality that needs to be eradicated from the squad. Celtic should never go into a game expecting it to be easy. Every match should be treated with the same intensity regardless of the opponent. That's the mentality of a top team. And it's something that Celtic must embrace if they are to be successful in the final stretch of the season. The reaction to the loss has also highlighted a broader issue, the pressure that comes with playing for a club like Celtic. There's always a sense of expectation, and it's something that players and managers must live with. But at the same time, we must remember that this team has delivered some memorable performances this season. The players have shown their quality time and time again, and one defeat doesn't change that. It's easy to forget just how good Celtic have been in certain moments, especially when things aren't going well. But it's important not to lose sight of the bigger picture. Celtic are still in a fantastic position to win the league, and they are still competing for the Scottish Cup. There's a lot to play for, and the team has the potential to turn things around and finish the season strong. The criticism of Rodgers in particular has been harsh, especially considering his track record at Celtic. He's the manager who guided the team to a historic invincible season and won numerous trophies. Under his leadership, Celtic have been dominant in Scotland, and there's no denying that he's played a key role in the club's success. Yes, the team has been underperforming recently, but that doesn't mean Rodgers should be sacked or that he's no longer the right person for the job. The defeat to St. Johnstone was a tough one to take, but it's important to remember that one bad result doesn't define a manager's career. Rodgers has proven time and time again that he's more than capable of leading Celtic to success, and he deserves the opportunity to correct the issues that have surfaced in recent weeks. Some fans are calling for drastic changes, but it's important to approach this with a level head. There's no need to panic. Celtic are still in control of their destiny in the league, and they have a chance to bounce back in the Scottish Cup. The squad has the talent to succeed, but they need to show up with the right mentality. This isn't the time for knee-jerk reactions or drastic decisions. It's a time for reflection, for identifying what's gone wrong, and for working to fix it. Celtic have shown time and time again that they can rise to the occasion, and this is just another challenge for them to overcome. In the end, football is a roller coaster, and every team goes through ups and downs. Celtic are no different. The key now is for the team to regroup, refocus, and push forward. There's still a lot to play for, and Celtic have everything to play for. They have the quality, they have the experience, and they have the manager to get them over the line. The next few weeks will be crucial, but I have full confidence that Celtic can turn things around and finish the season on a high. The treble is still within reach, and it's up to the players and the manager to make sure they get there. Before we proceed, subscribe to our channel and enable notifications to receive all exclusive news about Celtic FC. Don't miss any details about your favorite team. It's extremely important for Celtic FC fans. In the world of football, few names resonate like that of Evangelos Marinakis. From his meteoric rise in Greek football with Olympiacos to his ambitious investment in Nottingham Forest, Marinakis has become synonymous with power and influence. But now, whispers are circulating about a game-changing move. What if the Greek billionaire renowned for his sports ventures has set his sights on a new target, Celtic Football Club? A report has emerged suggesting that Marinakis could be preparing a staggering multi-billion-pound bid to take control of the Scottish Giants. What could this mean for the future of Celtic, a club steeped in history and tradition, has long been the pride of Scottish football? But with recent on-pitch challenges and off-field uncertainties, the prospect of a takeover by such a high-profile figure has raised eyebrows across the globe. The potential involvement of Marinakis is nothing short of tantalizing. Known for his bold moves in the football world, particularly with Olympiacos and Nottingham Forest, Marinakis has a reputation for transforming clubs and propelling them to new heights. Could Celtic be next in line for such a dramatic overhaul with a track record of successful investments and ambitious plans? Marinakis is no stranger to shaking up the footballing landscape. His tenure at Olympiacos has been marked by dominance in the Greek league, while Nottingham Forest's revival under his ownership saw them reach the Premier League for the first time in over 2 decades. His ventures are driven by a desire for success, but also for international recognition. The Scottish Premiership, with its rich heritage and massive fan base, would provide the perfect platform for Marinakis to make a statement on the global stage. However, the potential sale of Celtic would be more than just another business transaction. The club's passionate supporters, who have stood by their team through thick and thin, would undoubtedly be cautious about the prospect of a foreign investor taking the reins. Marinakis has faced criticism in the past, particularly due to his controversial reputation in Greek football, but his recent successes may soften the skepticism. Could the Celtic faithful embrace his vision for the future, or would they resist the idea of a high-stakes takeover as the rumors intensify? One thing is certain: this potential deal would reshape the future of both Celtic and Scottish football as a whole. Whether Marinakis can bring his signature success to Celtic remains to be seen, but his ambitious track record suggests that this is a story that's only just beginning. Football fans around the world will be watching closely, eagerly awaiting the next twist in this high-stakes saga. Hello, fan! Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, as it means a lot to Celtic FC. Also, share your opinion about the news in the comments below. See you in the next video.